Hello there, my name is Raj and here we are going to learn a Java simplified encryption technique. So what it is and why we need to use it, so we are going to learn here. So for this we have to first understand the problem. So what is the problem here? So suppose we have a Spring Boot application where we have a properties files, and then that properties file we have some sensitive data like the password for the database connectivity, password for the mail connectivity, and password for the other application connectivity. So the problem is that this is highly critical data and we don't want to display to everyone, so that misuse can happen. So how to prevent that? For this we have to use some techniques. So here we are using a Java simplified encryption technique that will help us to hide this sensitive data and may encrypt that data so that nobody can misuse that. Here you can see the description of the Java simplified encryption library, which says that it allows developers to add basic encryption capability to their projects and encrypt text, password inside the properties files. It has a support for a Spring based project and compatible with the Spring security. So let's start with the next slide. To start using this Java simplified encryption technique, we have to add the capabilities to our Maven project. For this, we have to add the Maven dependency into our pom.xml. So this is the Maven dependency. Here I have used the version 2.1.2, so you can use another higher version also. In a step 2, you have to create a bean of this library. So here you can see I have created a bean so for this library, and add that bean into our configuration class. So this will help us to Spring to create an object for this library and make it available inside your project. Here we have to create another bean. So if you see, this is basically a configuration. So here you can see that we have set a config.set algorithm. So this is the algorithm that will be used to encrypt the data, and the output of that encryption. So here mentioned is the base 64 type. And one more thing that you will see here, the set password environment name, so app_encryption password. So this is the basically a variable so that you will see in your properties file. So this placeholder will hold the password that will be used to encrypt the other values present in the database. So I will give you the example in our next slide. So what we are going to use. So for now you can take an example like we have a password for our database connectivity. So you will write like spring.datasource.passwords is equal to root. So we have to encrypt that root value. So to encrypt that root value we will use a password. So that password is like going to the placeholder with the app_encryption.password. So you will see in the next slide. So as you see here, so we are going to download a client which is called a Jasypt client. So that client is basically it will help us to encrypt all the values that are present in properties files. Like I have taken example spring.datasource.passwords is equal to root. So first what you have to do, you have to encrypt this password value which is root. So idea is, so what we will do, we will use this client to encrypt all the values that are present in the properties file. Like I have taken example of a database password. So what I will do, I will encrypt that root to an encrypted value using this client. So here I have downloaded the client, which is called jasypt-1.2.this.zip. So I will give you the explanation how to use this client. So as I told earlier in our last slides that we are going to encrypt, first encrypt the value that are present in the application properties file. Like here we have taken example as ping.data source.username or password with the value root. So we have to encrypt this key value. So value will be root. So here we have to encrypt this value root. So for this we have downloaded the client, and now we are going to unzip that client, and inside that client we have to run this command, which is your encrypt.bat.input is equal to root. So root is the value that we have to encrypt, and to encrypt that value we have to use a password. So here the password is def2a. This is an example, you can use any password. Now, when you run this command, you will see the encrypted value. So we will see what will be the encrypted value in the next slide. Here you will see the output of the command that you have executed in the last slide. So as you can see, this the environment that we have used a Windows environment. So the output is encrypted value. So we will use this encrypted value and copy to our in our spring.properties file. So instead of the root, we will add this encrypted value. So now we can, as I told you in the last slide, that we have to use the encrypted value in place of the root. So you have to copy it in our properties in the following manner, where spring.datasource.username, this is the key, and the value will be enc, and you have to provide the value that we have encrypted in place of root in a bracket. So what will happen? So once the Spring will find this enc, it will look for the uh, JSY encryption technique, and it will fetch the unencrypted value, and similarly it will resolve the encryption. So now the question comes here that we have now encrypted this value. So how Spring will decrypt this value? So for this we have to provide the password here in the properties file as well. But if we are going to provide the password file here, so it will again uh, create the problem, because now anybody can fetch this password from the properties file and encrypt that value and can see what is the exact value of this spring.dataset.username or password. So for this, we have to understand we are not going to put the master password, which is def2a we have used to encrypt this values. So that master password we are going to put in somewhere a location that is not accessible for everyone. So in the next slide, we will try to understand how we are going to store this master password. So here you can see for this master password, we have to create a key value, which is your js5pt.encrypted.password. This is the key, and the value is again a placeholder. So this is the placeholder for your master password. So you have to create this key value here in a properties file, but the master password we are not going to store here. So we are going to store somewhere else, like in our environment variable or Kubernetes secret. But like you are deploying your application in Kubernetes, so we will give you the example how to store that master password in the Kubernetes. As you can see here, we have a two option. either we store this master password in our environment variable, or if we have a deployment in our Kubernetes cluster, we can store that password into our Kubernetes cluster. So there is a two thing here. First, we have to provide a configuration in our deployment file, which is your YML. So this is the example of the YML. So how to configure it here. So as you can see, we have an app encryption password that is again a placeholder that we have used in a properties file, and the key that we have used there for this key value pair, JSPT encryptor.password, and the configuration is a secret. So that secret value, a password, master password will be stored in the Kubernetes cluster. So in the Kubernetes UI, you will find a secret configuration there. There you have to put your password, master password. Thank you. This is all. Signing off, Raj. You can find a detail of this blog. So I will give you a link of the my blog, which is hosted on a blog spot. So here, there you can file the details. Thank you.